number 3, electorate, and number 4, we have monarch. Monarch, as in the case of Britain. Then also have number 5, military. Okay, so like I said location has to do with who bears the sovereign power of a state's location. And the first one I'm going to look at is unitary. Unitary is a one system of government whereby they have just one party system. It's a one party system of government. An example of people practice such things, we have the Belgium. Now in this system of government, the location of who gets power and authority is that person who presides over the government in the unitary system. Then in a federal state, we can say the president or the central. You can say the central. You can use another word again. You can say provincial or state, as the case may be. The word unitary, the word sovereign power in the states. The first one I mentioned, Belgium, as a country who practices that system of government, and I also mentioned the location. So in a federal system like our case, Nigeria, we can see that power or sovereign power is vested on the central, provincial or state government. So we can see where the location is. Like I said, this system of government is traced to the one who bears the supreme power. So after using the system of government, federal, we trace it to the central government who bears the authority. Then number 3, we said electorate. According to AV Dice, he said that power of sovereignty are also vested on the electorate. They also have power of sovereignty too. So we can say another location of sovereignty are in the electorate. Who are the electorate? Me and you, those who vote. The ones you vote for are called the elites. Then you who vote are the electorate. That point noted. It's going to come up again. Number 4, we have monarchy, whereby a king or a queen rules. You can say monarchy stroke traditional system of government. Like in the case of Britain, the queen is said to wield supreme authority. She can be said to be the sovereign of the state. Then 5, we have military. The location of the sovereign power or authority is vested, like example, a case study in Nigeria when we practice military, is vested on this AFRC, the Armed Forces Ruling Council. Okay, so military, during military government, the location of sovereign is vested on this council. Okay, they have the sovereign in the state. So now we've seen the location of sovereignty. Now we're going to move to limitation. What are the things that limit sovereignty? What prevents it to be perfect? What prevents it to be working efficiently? That's what we want to see. We have a number of them, so as we list, we are going to explain. Okay. The first of it is membership to organization. And say worldwide organization. Let's get this down. Example of this worldwide organization, we can, let's go OPEC, UNO, we have EEC, we have ECOWAS, or rather let's just take ECOWAS and leave EEC. So this OPEC has to do with petrol control in a country. And UN comes to the aid of nation in times of need when disaster strike. they provide shelter for refugees, and they sort other problems in times of war, and they have real hand in every country. Every country bows to this organization. Then we have ECOWAS. They control economic activity in West Africa, okay, and Nigeria happens to be among them. They are members of this organization. How do this organization limit sovereignty? That's what we want to know. Being a member of this organization limits the country that is a member to take sovereignty. There's an interference in it. If you make a policy, and that policy, if the sovereign of a state makes a policy, this organization may say that he does not like the policy, and because of the partnership and the help that organization is able to bring to that country, it is now forced to do what? Change the policy. So that's why we have external influence. Like I said earlier, when mentioning characteristics of sovereignty, I made mention of external factor. That is to say that those external bodies have a say in it, and it also limits its ability to be called a sovereign state. So we have influence of powerful nation. Let's put it powerful nation. Let's go. We have external aid. Example of this powerful nation, we have USA, we have USSR, that's American and Russia, and let's go. Number 4, we have Constitution. Note that the limitation affects policies. This limitation affects 2 things: policies of a state or a country, and also the sovereign. That is to say, the individual or the location, and also the location in person, and also the country as a whole. The first one, as I said, affect the policies that they take. The second one, powerful nation. Powerful nation like American and Russia, which is USSR, have the power or the external influence to be able to penetrate into a nation's sovereign and change it to suit it because of their power and influence. And note that other smaller country has to be coerced or forced to bind to this nation because of their help in times of need. And which leads me to number 3, external aid. In times of war and disaster, or like natural disaster like flooding, tornado or tsunami, this country brings aid to that country, especially if you are a member of one of these organizations. This powerful nation are able to do what? Help you. So if your sovereign, if that sovereignty at that particular geographic location do not allow other country to interfere into it, they will not be able to benefit from this external aid in times of need. So do you see where sovereignty has its own limitation when this external factor walk into it? Now this constitution has to do with the sovereign himself, the one who wears the power of sovereignty in a country or in a state. They say the supremacy of the constitution fears nobody. Nobody is above the constitution. So the one wielding those authority, whereby it brings a policies or takes a action, the constitution is able to step in the power of sovereignty and is able to tell him, no, you won't do this, you're not going to do this or that. So that's when the supremacy of the constitution comes in, because it's above everybody. Everybody is beneath it. Then 5, we have pressure group. Pressure group help to check and balance. They checkmate individual bodies that wield power in a state or exercise absolute and unlimited authority. We have complexity of new government or modern government. With this new government, there is complex, with the nature of and the complexity of this government, is able to enforce laws with the complexity of modern government. It tends to enforce laws that may reduce the sovereignty of a particular state, okay, because of one of the major problem of government that in this modern complex government, which is delegated authority. This delegated authority has to do with government that is not done by electing but by appointment. Okay, so this complexity has put in place delegated authority, and whereby they limit the power. That is, instead of one person, they now divide into committees. And when you divide into committee, the power is now separating. Instead of just one person to say yes, no, it's now group of people. It's now let us instead of I. Okay, so it's now dividing. So the complexity of modern government warrants for delegated authority, and on the same basis, the sovereignty is becoming limited, removing it from what unlimited, which is the concept of sovereignty. Now we're going to take number 7. Number 7 has to do with the customs. Custom and tradition, which have and must be put into place. Custom and tradition which have to be put into place. This custom and tradition of people impose serious limitations on people, on the government, because they have to abide by it to avoid sanction or complaint from the general public. We also have coup d'etat. This is a military terminology. It has to do with forceful taking of government, which limits its sovereignty to the coup d'etat. So it's a forceful takeover from government and tend to make it difficult when locating sovereignty, because the constitution is normally suspended. So note, during a military regime, the constitution is suspended. The constitution is what? Suspended. So where the power of the state is entrenched in a constitution whereby it's suspended, what do you expect? Sovereignty of the state is closed for the moment, and the person ruling is now the one who dictates the final say in the country. So let's see, coup d'etat, suspend the constitution and limit sovereign power. Okay, then the last one is public opinion. Public opinion is very important too, because local and international public opinion prevent sovereignty too, because people or sovereigns are afraid of censure or embargo. They don't want complaint from the masses, because if their complaint rises, it could go to foreign ear, which may make the person in place leave power of sovereignty. So now let's see. We've discussed members to worldwide organization. I mentioned about 3. I said OPEC, the UNO, I said ECOWAS, and 2, I mentioned powerful nation that wield power. 3, external aids to in times of war or natural disaster. Then 4, I said constitution, the power also limits sovereign. Okay. Number 5, pressure group, they act as check and balance in the system of government. Then I said 6, because of the complexity of government, it's make for delegated leadership. So it not make the power to be what? Limited instead of unlimited, as the main picture of sovereignty is. Then 7, I said custom and tradition are first considered before laws are made, and which also make sovereignty to be what? Limited, because sovereignty is supposed to be absolute. Mind that picture, absolute. It where the final say. Then say 8, coup d'etat is another limitation, because during that time the constitution is what? Suspended. When I mean suspended, it's not used. Laws are not taken from that place. Then 9, we made mention of public opinion, the masses. And if what the masses want are not carried out, sovereignty too will become sovereignty will be what? Limited. And also the people are afraid not to adhere to the public. That's why they do what? They adhere to them, because they're afraid of embargo and also means of sanction by impeachment. Okay, so we're thoroughly done with sovereignty. We've looked at the characteristics, look at the type, the location, sovereignty, and I said the meaning as well, and we've listed them. So we're done with the number 4 basic concept of government. Now we're moving to the number 5, political socialization and political culture.